Hey, what's up, guys? It's Spazi here, and I'm here with Love, Money, and Rock and Roll, as this game is called. It's from the developers of the great, amazing, fantastic game of Everlasting Summer. From the Soviet Games, as they call themselves. I've never tried this before. This is a demo, because later this year the full game is gonna come out. But I'm stoked. I'm fucking hyped. So I'm gonna play this. The 3rd of April, 1987. So let's see what this game's about. And let's get hyped for the fucking sequel, boys. You can't see me right now, but I'm literally flossing. Not flossing, I'm hyping. These falling cherry petals. Sakura Japanese cherry blossoms, I know. Does anyone actually find them beautiful? Does anyone really see a deep meaning in their whirling? Perhaps this combination of colors, the purple velvet against the setting sun, does mesmerize. No doubt, back then I also watched this leaf fall and thought so. Perhaps too much time has passed, I've forgotten, and I have changed. Only the trees are still the same. They don't care. They came into the world before me, and they will yet outlive my descendants. They don't care how beautiful their falling petals are, how fast they fell, or at what angle. It's all the same to them. Why would they bother with such miniaturity? To them, this is nothing more than a routine change of the season. To me, though, this is a flood of memories. A shit ton of memories, boys. Yeah, you know, that's some sick shit. The tree in front of me now is just like the one on that day. The day when I had to something. The day when it was too late to do anything. It's the same. The same are the petals too, falling with treacherous indifference. They generally don't care. They don't care if one day a photographer makes an entire exhibition of their images, or if a pair of sweethearts falls even more deeply in love, enchanted by their ceaseless dance. That's how nature is. It's not how I am. Okay. Same as that day, a year earlier. That day, the petals were falling off the trees as well. Back then, too, nature was lying down. Not dying, no, but falling asleep to wake up again in the spring. The fire of life rekindled. The spring and the fire, what the fuck? Sitting under this tree, I was remembering all the joy and all the sadness. The girl, do you really love me? Oh, the girl said, do you really love me? Me, yes. Truly? Yes. She turned away while the petals kept falling, getting tangled in her hair and making her look even more beautiful. You know, these cherry petals really suit you. She turned around. She probably didn't feel like it. She probably expected something else. Elegant phrases, wise words, something, but not this. Really? Yes, of course. She smiled. I, too, must have expected something different. Feelings, confessions, as beautiful as these fluttering petals. But at that time, those words were more important to me than anything else. More important than the tree, more important than the moment, more important than life itself. Because I realized that they were like a petal resting in the hand before it fell to the ground. So near, so fragile, so precious. Okay. We got a nice little intro about petal trees, apparently. Okay, the 12th of June, 1987. I snapped awake, and I'm gonna take a little piece of water. Ah, very great. The fan was humming obnoxiously as ever. The fan was it hurt. Its noise must have woken me up. Okay, look. Things are actually animated. Oh, things are doing stuff now. It's great. Must have woken me up. I was sick of it, of course, but it was a necessary evil. The summer heat was relentless, even with the doors open. It was 3 in the morning, and the silence was sickening. Dear God, better to hear the blare of police sirens, or the shouting of a drunk neighbor, or the screeching of car tires. Anything but this obnoxious fan. I would have turned it off long ago, but then I might indeed been cooked alive by the heat. Heck, Russian winters has nothing on Japanese summers. Correct, bro. It's very hot in the Japanese summer. I am so much agreeing. With effort, I got up and went to the kitchen for some water. What were Russian winters like anyway? Some muffled creaking came from the floorboards under my feet. But the rest of the house, which had 3 bedrooms, a living room, a bathroom, and some pantries, paid no attention to its sole inhabitant. Dang, it really was 3 a.m. It was. It really was. I gulped the water down greedily, spilling half on myself. In the morning, I had to go to school. Had to. Who was compelling me? Maybe I was the one who came up with these stupid duties and responsibilities, straddling myself with the necessity of socializing and waiting for that useless piece of paper which would attest to me possessing a high school education. I must have invented this world myself. I must have made it up alongside all the other worlds that I fabricated daily for myself, for those I knew, for the whole world. These obligations were nothing but the stupid conventions of that world. By a stroke of bad luck, it was also the world that most people viewed as the real one. I poured myself another glass of water and returned to bed. Okay. Good. Now we go to sleep and no problems. Good. And this the moon shone brightly, animating every speck of dust. On its mournful light, my room looked entirely different, like a portal to another world. A world that was beyond even my imagination. A silver ray lighted on the table, inching towards a heap of papers. School papers, an unfinished novel, letters from my mother, from friends in Russia, and I got up and put a particular scrap of paper into my drawer. Had it been sitting there for a year? Or why should it have bothered me? Then again, why was it on my table? I should have tossed it long ago. I jumped up, took a step towards the table and came to a halt. How could I? It's not as if I hadn't tried before. More than once. The phone rang loudly. Very loudly. It was 3 in the morning. Who could possibly need to talk to me at this hour? To a dejected high schooler, sunk in contemplation. However, I was used to it. Oh wait, who's calling, man? If you're used to it, you should have known. Hello? Hey, you're not asleep? As you can see, I felt an impulse to hang up and disconnect the phone. But even more, I wished that she could now be here close by. How come? How should I know? Probably because you called me. She mumbled something unintelligible. How are things in general? How should they be in general at 3 in the morning? I don't know. Great? Well then, they're great. Oh, stop that. Well, what did you want to hear? I just wanted to call. So you mean it's okay to call at 3 a.m.? I saw the light come on in your kitchen, so I figured you were up. Are you spying on me? No, I was just... The line went silent for a few seconds. She must have been trying to think of something that wouldn't sound too ridiculous. It's just... It's just that I couldn't sleep either. Why either? What if I had been sleeping? But you aren't now. Okay, let's start from the beginning. What did you want? I wanted to know. She paused mid-sentence as if working up the courage before continuing more confidently. Are you coming to school tomorrow? I suppose I do. Then I'll come by for you in the morning. Now that's just great. It's 3 in the morning and you're going to come by in 3 hours? So we won't be late. You know what? I think I'm going to pass on that. Hey, you can't just keep missing school. At that rate, you won't be able to graduate. And then you won't be able to find a good job. And then... She got entirely tangled up in the predictions of my future. Oh well, no biggie. No, that's not well. Leave the door unlocked tomorrow in the morning. You have the keys. What does it matter if I lock the door? Oh, right. See you in the morning then. See you. I didn't feel like arguing. It would have done no good anyway. She would come and wake me up regardless. It's what she did almost every day. Why did I ever give her the keys? Well, that was a while back. It must have been about a year. The cherry petals were probably falling on that day as well. But to hell with them. I thought to set the alarm so I could get up before she came. Not that it mattered much, but it was getting old. What's more, I'd worried that I may have become too accustomed to it, seeing that familiar face every morning, the pendant even, which was something I definitely could not allow to happen. So if she wanted to come in the morning, fine, but she wouldn't be waking me up again. Damn. What the fuck? What's this relationship with her? What the frick? I have no idea. The 8th of September, 1987. Okay, bro. This is a long time ago. I wanted to be living back then. Sounds like a great time, bro. 100 bells were chiming with 100 melodies in my head, announcing the morning. In that medley was the cheerful chirping of the birds, the construction on a neighboring street, the boisterous shouts of the street vendors, as well as the damn fan, which could not stop humming for a second, and the grumpy muttering somewhere close by. The fixed gaze of large green eyes, the pouting lips, and the 2 red braids all informed me that I had slept in. Oh shit. So, that's the girl. It's like pink hair. How the she looks meh. Yeah. What time is it? The girl oh shit, she moved. Fuck. I wasn't prepared for that. The girl picked up the alarm and shoved it in my face. But it's still early. I protested. The early birds get the worm. This was Himitsu. I seemed to have known her my whole life, or at least since my parents and I had moved to Japan. Her mother was Russian, although she divorced Himitsu's father when we were still children. Okay, enough lounging around. Time to get up, wash up, eat breakfast, and go to school. This was how most of my days started. Though, after so many years, I'd become accustomed to it. Incidentally, I had forgotten to introduce myself. Nikolai, a high school senior. Nico-kun. Kun is a Japanese horrific use when addressing male friends or junior subordinates. Okay. Himitsu's voice carried throughout the entire house, and it no longer felt so empty and lonely. I quickly got washed and dressed, then came into the kitchen. The house really was too big for one person. In fact, it was probably designed for a multi-generational family, grandparents, parents, children, and grandchildren. The empty space seemed oppressive, even when my parents were still with me. Now it felt just like a museum or a library. Who in their right mind would want to live there, especially by themselves? Bon appetit! Same to you. An omelette and several kinds of salads were gracing the table. Okay. I picked up a piece of cucumber with the chopsticks and was lazily shifting it around the plate. Not hungry? I am, but I can't live off grass like a rabbit. Himitsu frowned. So, is instant ramen better in your book? I don't know about that. I don't know about better, but it's undoubtedly better tasting. Hey! She puffed out her cheeks comically, which made her look like a cute hamster. I put work into it, you know? K.O. I could say nothing to counter that, so I concentrated on chewing. What are you planning to do after school today? I don't know. Kyosuke wanted to go to the movies, I think. Were you going to suggest something? She set aside her chopsticks and looked at me intently, like she was going to say something important. Maybe? She started laughing, trying to hide her embarrassment. Never mind, it's not important. Himitsu was in love with me. Okay. Okay. She is in love. Okay, bro. What up, Himitsu? You in love? Good shit, bro. Okay. I'd known this for a long time, but did nothing about it. At some point, I had grown so accustomed to it that I no longer knew if she loved me as a brother or as a man. To be perfectly honest, I didn't care one way or another. If you want to go somewhere, I can reschedule the movie. You can do without me tonight. Her face gleamed with an earnest smile. Well, actually, I wanted to check out this one store near the station. It is just open. The girl at the school won't stop talking about it. Someone else might have considered this a date, but I simply enjoyed spending time with Himitsu. She also seemed content with this arrangement. You haven't finished your breakfast? Nor did I plan to. I might yet have to eat this grass for lunch as well. Why don't you ever make borscht or dumplings or something? Borscht isn't breakfast, and besides, I made it before. Himitsu took offense. She had made it before, true. Just not the same as I remembered from my childhood. I was not about to tell her that. It's one thing not to know how to do something. One can always learn. It's quite another to both know and do yet fail to meet expectations. When that is the case, there is a good chance that one will never learn. Okay, so she sucks at making food. That's what we know. Fuck you, Himitsu. You are not my girl. My girl needs to make a great fucking meal. Okay, bro? I think we're agreeing on this thing now. Okay, Himitsu? So no kissy missy for you. No. Maybe a little fuck you lucky, fucky wucky, but you can't. That doesn't mean anything. That's just a fucky wucky fun time, you know. When that is the case, there's a good chance that no one will never learn. You're right. Sorry. Your borscht is delicious. Borscht, yeah, borscht. I repeated. Michi was glaring at me. Anyone else in her place would have long since emptied this bowl of imaginary borscht onto my head. So, what's the story you were talking about? They're so close. She kept piercing me with a stare. Dresses, sweaters, skirts, clothing, women's clothing. Do you think maybe you should go with one of your girlfriends then? I'm not saying no, it just might be a bit awkward. Why? I don't know, it's just the way things are here. And you know how I'm not always great with local customs. I was telling the truth. Anyone else would have got used to the Japanese way of life, to Japanese tradition and cultural norms. Or at least to the ways of the local high schoolers. No one is going to think anything. It's not like we're... Himitsu was completely flustered, which was making her upset. I couldn't tell if she was more upset with herself or with me. Sometimes when I talked to Himitsu, and not only her, I would hit a dead end. I no longer knew what was expected of me, while the other person couldn't understand why I didn't get it. And then the entire meaning of the conversation would end up buried under an avalanche of misunderstanding which snowballed with every new remark. At such times it was better to agree or to remain silent. Alright, it's okay. No one's going to think anything. Why would they? Exactly. I still need to get used to them moving around. That's kind of weird. Said Himitsu triumphantly and went to wash the dishes. Okay, we're Where's the dishes? What's the fucking dishes then? What was this kind of weather? Early in the fall, cold in Russia? A grandma's summer? In Japan, at any rate, it was still scorching at the beginning of September. Himitsu was walking alongside me, smiling. I occasionally glanced over at her, trying to figure out what was on her mind. Not that I was particularly interested, more likely I was just trying to distract myself from my own thoughts. The image of the falling cherry petals kept surfacing in my mind, dragging up painful memories. As for Himitsu, she never broached the subject. Was she reluctant to avoid reopening the wound, or was she just so intact? Hey, after Nico-kun, do you copy? Huh, what? I was clearly daydreaming. We're almost here, and you're still sleeping, Himitsu scowled. As always, her displeasure looked more comical than intimidating. I'm not sleeping. I'm solving the world's problems in my head. Oh yeah, that's... what sort of problems? She laughed. The political sort, not even geopolitical. Who else will solve them if not yours truly? Your grades are a little underwhelming for a future politician. That's not important. There have been plenty of great people who didn't get best grades in school. Take Einstein, for instance. I see. Himitsu smirked. We would have probably kept chit-chatting like this if it hadn't been for a scuffle happening that moment at the school gate. Several people had surrounded the girl from a distance. We couldn't see who it is. Look, said Himitsu, quietly slowing down. I started listening. Students, she probably wears the same skirt all year. It must be a hand-me-down from older sister. How does a bum like her even get admitted to a school? It's not a halfway house. Go work at the fish market. Careful now. You might catch something from her. It's not like I was going to, with her. Hey, you're onto something. I bet that she spends her nights earning a little side cash. So this girl spends the night because she had a weird skirt or an old skirt fucking guys for money to earn side cash. That's one hell of a conclusion to come through to. And I bet you are right. So let's see. Poor thing. Himitsu paused for a second. Isn't she in your class? I looked more closely. She did look familiar. I think so. Are you saying you don't even know who your classmates are? Of course I do. That's... Oh shit, fuck. I fucked up. What did it say? Bro! Is it in here, bro? No, bro! Bro, what can I do, bro? Here? Bro, I can't see. I fixed my hair and looked triumphantly at Himitsu. Okay, she was not impressed. In fact, she's our class president. Himitsu was still looking at me reproachfully. Well, what? I've never spoken much with her, and anyway, we've only been together in the same class since the start of the school year, so it's only been 6 months. Meanwhile, the scuffle, if one could call it that, was picking up steam. The girl remained stubbornly silent, only dropping her head lower with every minute. This only encouraged the bullies further. Come on! Who would pay money for someone like her? Except maybe 100 yen. The speaker made a show of opening his wallet stuffed with bills, pulling out a handful and waving them in front of Iwamura. Okay, that's her name, Iwamura. That's really getting out of hand. I muttered under my breath. However, other students walking past pretended not to notice anything. These damn traditions again. This isn't right. Nico-kun, let's just tell a teacher. Himitsu tugged lightly at my sleeve. And what is the teacher going to do? Scold them? My, aren't you ashamed of yourselves? I was starting to get worked up. If I had to think about it, what business of mine was this? A fellow classmate? So what? I hadn't changed more than a couple of words with her before this day. On the other hand, it was hard to watch one poor girl getting hounded by an entire pack. And you know what? She is kinda hot. And if she does this game, I hope. Wait, is high schoolers over 18 in Japan, right? Yeah, high schoolers over 18 in Japan, so that's good, I guess. I think. And if she's making us side money, and we could get something out of that, you know? Another. Oh shit. Intervene, don't intervene. Yeah, let's intervene. She's hot. Why should I stay on the sidelines? What if this were Himitsu in her place? After all, we were all so far from the wealthiest kids at this school. Sorry. Himitsu only smiled slightly in response. Hey. I yelled and headed confidently in their direction. Leave her alone. At first they just looked at me in surprise. Iwamura, on the other hand, kept staring at the ground and did not react at all. And who would you be? What business of yours is this? Keep walking. That tone was challenging, but this only boosted my confidence. 4 against 1? Don't you think that's a bit unfair? You want some too? Is that it? Oh, you want some too? Is that it? The 2 guys from the group stepped forward, cracking their knuckles for emphasis. It would seem that they could do more than talk trash. And what's the hero going to do now? One of them smirked. Yeah, what? To tell the truth, I didn't know either. I've been compelled to stand up for Iwamura by some kind of inflamed sense of justice no more. Okay, so you are going against... I chose to do it, so I'm going against 4 versus 1. But I didn't come up with a plan. Boys, I'm fucked up. What the fuck did I think, bro? Because here you weren't supposed to act this way, and there you were supposed to help your neighbor. But real life isn't manga or anime. In real life, I had no superpowers. You're about to find out. I went up really close to one of them and froze. And what now? But the guy staggered back, clearly rattled. Who do you think you are? The same instant, the second guy rushed up to me, clearly intending to shove me in the chest. My reflexes kicked in before I could think. We punched that guy right in the face, man. Right in the face. You're a little pussy! Pussy-ass bitch! Out swung my arm. Crack came the sound of the silenced jaw. The world around me seemed to freeze. Iwamura, the other girls, and even the guy whom I have just punched were all staring at me, seemingly transfixed with surprise. But this only lasted an instant. Do you have any idea who my father is? One of the girls was shouting. Don't yell, let's just go. He's some kind of psycho. The other girl was trying to calm her friend down. The second guy held his blade pile up from the ground. This isn't over. We'll remember you. Oh shit, I just got some really bad enemies. I probably shouldn't have done that. His father is probably a gangster or some shit. They're gonna chop my whole body up and... yeah, and bury me in the forest or something. Oh, we are in Japan. We could be buried in the suicide forest. We are in the 80s, so he does have some gay hair. Look at that shit, bro. With these words, they quickly headed away from school. Okay, good shit. Good shit. We scared them away. Himitsu rushed over to me the same instant. Neko-kun, are you alright? Yes, of course. I replied calmly while examining my slightly swollen fist. Surprisingly, I wasn't shaking with adrenaline as might have been expected. Everything must have happened too suddenly. Iwamura-senpai? In all the commotion, I had forgotten all about the chief culprit of this kerfuffle. She stood silently, peering angrily as under her brows. She looks... How come everybody from this directly look from a head or what the fuck you call it? They look gay and ugly and they look way too symmetrical in the face, I guess. I guess that's the problem, actually. Or is that? I don't know. Maybe that's not the problem. Maybe it's just me being weird and gay-like. I don't know. She stood silently, purring angrily at us from under her brows. Are you alright?
Fighting is prohibited on school grounds.
No, that's not her voice.
Fighting is prohibited on school grounds,
she said quietly. What? A foolish smile spread across my face. I looked over at Himitsu. She looked just as confused as I was.
I'm saying there was no call for getting into a fight.
In case you haven't noticed, I was kind of defending you.
They would have left an end.
Ivumura went silent for a second, then looked up at me. Her eyes flashed. Just as quickly, her indifferent demeanor returned.
They always leave.
Regardless, you could at least say thank you. It's just common courtesy. I was even more upset now than a minute earlier. And not only her here, but in the whole wide world. Ivamura merely raised her chin, snorted, and quickly made her way towards the school gate. Okay. Unthankful as fuck. I ain't helping her another time. That was a waste of time. And that was not worth getting in to gang fights for. That's just unreal.
I told you not to get into it, to get involved.
Himitsu said quietly.
But you did act like a real hero.
Some hero. Uh-huh. Where have you seen heroes like this? In the movies, the heroes get thanked for the rescue.
But you didn't do it for the sake of gratitude, did you?
Himitsu kept smiling, which made me flustered. Well, we'll see what sort of gratitude prevented me from the teachers, I grumbled. Come on, let's go. Another routine school day had now begun. I couldn't remember the Russian school at all, even though I attended it for the entire 6 months. 6 months I went through a Russian school. I should be able to remember every part of it, like every single detail of the Russian school. But for some reason it seemed to me that schools were more or less the same around the world. As were people. Really, how many ways could there be to get stuff into a kid's noggin? If Macaroni and Popov could, independently of each other, invent the radio, why couldn't identical best practices emerge in education at the opposite ends of the world? I shout from the teacher snapped me out of these thoughts. Whatever school was like in Russia, the school here was pretty strict. There was a reason, after all, why this was one of the best schools in this country. My class consisted mainly of the children of the rich and famous businessmen, politicians, showbiz stars. Sometimes I felt out of place here. But then, even among these elites, some people were almost ordinary. One such person, Kiosk, came up to me during the break. He looks like a fat... He looks like a nerd. I like that guy. I like you. Kioske, you're my nerd, man. I love you, bro. We're gonna be together. We're gonna be together through everything, man. We're gonna stay together forever, bro. You're my best friend now, bro. I'd known Kioske since middle school. He came across as a down-to-earth guy with none of the attitudes of the local privileged youth. Hey, Nick. Did you hear what happened this morning? I looked around the class and spotted one of the girls that had been harassing Ivamura. Okay, wait. I need to get him a better voice. Sorry, I'll find a better voice for next time. She gave me a mean look, but then quickly went back to what she's been doing. Whatever. No, what happened? I asked, even though I knew perfectly well what Kioske was referring to.
This morning at the school gate,
Kioske lowered his voice.
There was a brawl.
some word they chose. Couldn't they have thought of a better one? I did more than just witness it.
What are you saying? You mean...
His eyes lit up. He leaned in towards me and then continued at a rapid fire rate.
Are you that guy? The one that punched Kurosaki from the B class?
Somehow I didn't care to ask his name. I answered proudly and immediately winced. There was nothing to be proud of here. Now everyone was going to gossip about what a dangerous bully I was, and no one was going to remember that I had actually saved the poor girl from harassment. I don't think anything terrible. I was just defending. My eyes were scouring the classroom in search of Ivamura. Was defending, but she wasn't there. I was really looking to her for proof of my heroic deed, for a confirmation that I was not merely a troublemaker. Well, anyway, I was defending a girl.
A girl? Huh?
Kyosuke squinted. No, I don't know who she is. Anyway, what difference does it make? It was a natural reaction, you know, anyone in my place. I looked up at Kyosuke. Any decent person would have done the same.
Uh-huh. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Don't forget to introduce me to your mystery girl of yours.
Okay, I keep changing his voice. I'll come up with,
fuck you, guy.
That's his new voice.
Okay.
He seemed to want to add something, but at the moment the school bell rang. He didn't need to know that the girl was Ivamura. She had it pretty rough as it was. Then again, maybe part of the blame lay with her. The next lesson was contemporary Japanese. I had lived in Japan for 10 years and spoke the language fluently, of course, but writing still gave me a grief at times. Damn. When the break started, I rushed out of the classroom to avoid further conversation about the morning incident. Kyosuke could be somewhat pushy and persistent, but he did not entirely lack tact, so I was probably being overly cautious. English was next. It came much more easily to me. I spent the better part of the lesson gazing out at the sports ground where the soccer match was taking place. Soon my thoughts took me far from school, to the day when the cherry petals were falling. Fall was here, and that meant that the trees would soon be shedding their foliage again. The color palette might be different this time, but would my feelings remain the same? A couple more weeks, a month at most, and I would know. The bell recalled me to reality and my stomach started grumbling noisily.
Have you checked? Have you not eaten breakfast today? Let's make a cafeteria run.
You're always ready to chow down.
Where there's a whole body, there's a whole mind.
A whole lot of body. More like it. I was always starving and I didn't want to wait till lunch. Okay, let's go. Shit, I could eat something right about now too. Boys, please give me some food. I'm hungry, I'm starving out here. Please. The memory of Himitsu's healthy, balanced breakfast was still fresh in my mind. I wanted to eat something unhealthy but delicious. Sadly, food poisoning was not on the menu. The cafeteria, like everything else at the school, was first rate. I couldn't tell you if the food here was on par with the fare served at the world's top restaurants, as I hadn't eaten there. But on the whole, I had no complaints. Besides, the menu had many European options. No borscht wasn't among them, of course. Sadly, man. We entered the cafeteria. Kyosuke was babbling on about some new magical girl anime. I wouldn't have called myself a huge anime fan, but I watched them sometimes too. Though on the scale of enthusiasm, I was as far from Kyosuke as Tokyo was from Moscow. Suddenly, bam! Something had jabbed me in the side, not too hard, but enough to be felt. On top of that, I was now covered in liquid. Oh shit! Some hot blonde spilled orange juice all over me, and I don't care as long as she's giving me a hard, long blowjob. A girl holding a tray popped up from behind. I was dripping with orange juice while she gazed in bewilderment on the result of her actions. Hey, careful! I was more frustrated than angry. She did not react in any way. Instead, she just kept looking at me in surprise. Girl. Why you gotta be so rude? Okay. Now I'm done. That wasn't funny. Finally, she seemed to recover. She still looks okay. From like the front. Still not as good, but she looks okay.
It's you. Yeah. It's you. It's you who should watch where you go.
What? I was so taken aback I smiled like an idiot and even retreated a step. Meanwhile, the girl scrawled and glared at me.
I said it's you. I said watch where you go instead of sleepwalking.
You were actually the one who bumped into me.
And why would I bump into you?
I was lost for an answer. The girl was talking nonsense, but she was doing it so comfortably that I couldn't help but question my own judgment. And why would I?
How should I know? You're the one who bumped into me.
Alright, you convinced me. I won't do it again. I snapped back and was prepared to leave.
Wait,
She said quietly.
you're... well... oh, what?
I looked myself over, not the prettiest of pictures to be sure. And what do you suggest? Joint trip to the showers?
Me? I was not... how could you even think that?
The surprise and confusion on her face gave place to anger. What the fuck? Why is she pointing at me? Stop pointing at me! There was an insulted and humiliated victim, and I the culprit, naturally. Okay, just forget it. Everything's fine.
Wait,
Her tone kept changing faster than the weather in the tropics.
here, take this.
She handed me a handkerchief. Okay, thanks. I accepted it without an argument and was about to thank her. However, she snorted, turned on her heels, and left to join her girlfriends at the far end of the cafeteria. What a strange girl.
Nick, you.
Startled Kioske when I sat down at our table. Started. He was flaring his nostrils and gasping like a fish out of water.
Do you know who that was?
No, who?
That was Ellie-sama.
Sama is a Japanese honorific used when addressing someone with the most possible respect and reverence. Appropriate analog in the English would be Sir, Madame. Ah. He looked probingly at me as though expecting me to exclaim, "Oh, Ellie-sama, that very one." Sama, who? I inquired coolly.
How could you not know? And you want people to believe you're a student here?
I don't want that. It's what the papers say.
If you paid more attention to what goes on around you.
All right, enough suspense already. Just tell me. He was clearly chomping at the bit. Kioske repositioned himself more comfortably on his chair, assumed a serious look, and began.
Ellie-sama, she's like the school queen. She has a perfect grades. She's great at sports. She won awards at the national, no, not even international level.
Not the interplanetary? What a relief.
Anyone would consider it an honor to be acquainted with her.
To have her spill a drink on you? Is that what you meant? Kioske ignored me and carried on.
I would give up my entire manga collection to have her start up a conversation with me.
Your entire collection?
Okay, half.
I squinted.
Fine, a third.
Alright, I get it. I should expect the police to show up at my door now and await a sentence, death by critical glass, except, hold on a second, I am entirely innocent.
You don't get it at all.
Kioske sighed.
Then again, maybe you should expect the police after all. Her grandfather is the chairman of the school boards of directors.
And what am I supposed to do now? Keep apologizing to her? She was the one who bumped into me and spilled drink all over my... He sighed again and returned to eating. Okay. We clearly doesn't understand anything. Apparently. I turned slowly and looked in the direction of the school queen. Judged by the lively conversation and laughter coming from her table, Elisama had already forgotten about the incident and my lowly self. The juice dried pretty quickly, leaving behind noticeable yellow stains on the white shirt. I didn't really care about my appearance, but the school had its standards, which didn't take kindly to such sloppiness. So I had to change into a jersey and a track jacket. Nah, that sucks, bro. After another uneventful lesson, it was time for the long break. And that meant it was time for lunch. Had I agreed to meet Himitsu for lunch? I couldn't remember. I could just go for a stroll around the school, seeing that I'd only eaten an hour earlier. Go for a stroll? Go for a stroll. Let's go for a stroll. Fuck Himitsu. She's not the blonde girl I met. One thing was certain, I could not stay in the classroom. Actually, I just didn't want to listen to Kyosuke's empty chatter for another half hour. More stories about anime, manga, and school gossip? Every day there were new stories, but they were always meaningless. Not that I didn't like Kyosuke. He was a good friend, but I doubted he could be of much assistance when my mind was occupied with something altogether different than magical girls. I wasn't going to have lunch with Himitsu, but I told Kyosuke otherwise. Okay, bro. So you're lying over in front of your friend? That's not good shit. That's not nice, bro. The hallways and the schoolyard were all crowded with students. That's when it dawned on me. The roof. The roof was not the most popular spot at the school. Curious to know why. I quickly stopped by the snack bar to pick up some rolls and a bottle of milk. The door hinges which were badly in need of lubrication, scratched awfully as powerful gust of wind welcomed me to the roof. I was forced to take a step back and grab the stair railing to steady myself. Then I found myself on the roof. The bright sun was blinding me, but at least there was no one here. Or was there? At the far end of the roof, a girl was sitting on a bench eating a bento. Bento is a Japanese term for a single portion packaged meal, usually homemade lunch. Yeah, so basically, it's a lunchbox. It was Iwamura. She was gazing out into the distance towards the horizon, looking dreamy. I hesitated to approach her, remembering the morning incident. What was I going to say to her? The roof appeared too small for both of us at that moment. On the other hand, I looked stupid just standing there. If I turned around now, she would think that I chickened out. What was there to be afraid of anyway? I approached her slowly and stood nearby. Reluctantly, Iwamura granted me her attention. Apparently, she had been aware of my presence all along. So I'd done the right thing. I remembered how she behaved in the morning after the struggle with the bullies. And after that, I was supposed to feel awkward in front of her. To feel guilty? Can I sit down here? Iwamura shrugged her shoulders and scooted over a little to one side of the bench. I sat down, opened the bag containing my simple lunch and glanced furtively at Iwamura's bento. It seemed just as good as Himitsu's. Well, if Iwamura really was poor, it stood to reason that she knew how to cook. That's a girl for me. A girl that cooks. I can't cook. I need a girl that cooks. Any girl that cooks and are over the age of 18, leave a comment telling me that you know how to cook and you want to cook for me, and I'll be happy to meet you. You know, I still felt awkward around her, which was really bugging me. What? If I spoke my mind now, I was going to encounter the same reaction as earlier. I was wondering why were those jerks after you this morning?
Why do you care?
How about because I took a direct part in that incident? Had the police been there, I would have gone into the books as an accomplice.
They are always bullying me.
What, just because? For no reason at all?
You wouldn't understand.
Maybe she was right. I've never been bullied. I don't know the full story, obviously, but it seems to me that nothing happens without reason.
Everyone has their own reasons.
Imvara said cryptically. But there are laws. I don't know. It's not right.
Laws?
She pulled away from her bento, turned towards me and looked at me severely.
Laws exist for others, not for people like them. Or for people like you.
Should I remind you that I was the one who saved you? Would have sounded inappropriate. I was the one who helped you? She said nothing back and resumed eating. You could at least have said thanks.
Thanks,
said Ivamura quietly. Now we're getting somewhere. She slammed her lunchbox closed and got up briskly from the bench.
Thanks again. Enjoy your meal.
No, we made her angry, boys. No, I should have had a choice where I could just say, show me those great lips of yours. I'm gonna give them a big smooch right now. And then smooch right on her lips. And she would probably have reported me for rape. I don't know. She snapped back without so much as looking at me and left. Right, see you later. I muttered to myself, quickly finished my lunch and left for class. Kyosuke was already waiting for me here, grinning from ear to ear.
So how was lunch with Himitsu, huh, Chan?
Chan is a Japanese honorific used when addressing female friends or to emphasize an excessive familiar treatment of a person. Okay. Fine. Where was he going with this?
Oh, really? So that was some other Himitsu who came looking for you literally 5 minutes ago?
Didn't you know she had a twin sister? Her name is Shinjitsu.
Yeah, sure.
I swear, Himitsu is the good one and Shinjitsu is the evil one, or the other way around. You got fortunate, by the way, because her superpower is sucking the soul out of fat, excessively curious otaku. Otaku is a hardcore dedicated fan primarily used when talking about the fans of Japanese anime and manga. It's a Japanese weeaboo. They can't be weeaboos when they're Japanese, so they are otakus.
Whatever, man.
Kyosuke sounded offended and went back to his desk. Okay, Kyosuke. The school day was coming to a close. Exhausted student has been counting off the minutes, but there was still one more class to go. Himitsu stopped in during the break to remind me that we had agreed to go shopping after school. I didn't clue in right away. The teacher was trying unsuccessfully to call the class to attention, but most students were ignoring him. True, many of the students at this school were genuinely invested in their education and keen to learn. However, there were a good half of knuckleheads who sat through lessons only for the sake of the prestigious diploma. Why worry about such trivial as great sort of write-ups when your whole life was planned out for you decades in advance? Settle down, the teacher kept repeating, really angrily. Regrettably, he could not yell at them. Oh shit. I thought he did. Alright, if you don't come down, you're not going to find out that we have a new girl joining us today. Instantly, the classroom plunged into silence, broken only by a few whispers. A new student? In the middle of the year? Is she cute? I wonder. I want to fuck her in the ass. I wasn't particularly excited. I had grown accustomed to the constant hubbub, and I couldn't care less if the class gained another student since I didn't know the existing ones very well to begin with. Come in. A subdued murmur rippled through the classroom, but I felt too lazy even to lift my head. But then I felt a firm shove in the back. Hey! I turned around and looked at Kiosk. He sat there, mouth ajar. Goodness, who could this new person be if even these overindulged kids were reacting this way? I faced the blackboard. The classroom was a swirlwind of scarlet cherry petals. Does anyone really find this beautiful? But how? Why? Wait, what the fuck? The girl from my visions, this visitor from the past, was standing a mere 6 feet from me. What the fuck? Who's this? Someone new? No one new. Shit. Shit.
Well, go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Catherine.
Actually, I know a few people here already.
She quickly surveyed the classroom without pausing on anyone in particular.
I look forward to studying with you.
She deliberately distorted a standard Japanese greeting. Catherine Winters, so official. She had just been Katja to me. She was the one who I had watched the petals fall. Then she moved away. She just left without giving a reason. She left me alone, breaking my heart and shattering my dreams. I should have been mad. Should have hated her even, but I couldn't. Gosh, how corny that was. How nauseating. Shoujo manga is a Japanese comic targeted primarily at a female audience. Oh. It was as if I had become trapped inside a second-rate shoujo manga. Now she just needed glittering sparkles around her face and some wispy clouds in the background. I would wait for it. It was nothing I wasn't used to. I rubbed my eyes and pinched myself hard. Nope, not a dream.
Hey Nick, why is she back? Do you know something? Why haven't you said anything?
Kyosuke was prattling on annoyingly behind my back. My world had concentrated into a dark tunnel with me at one end, immersed in total darkness, and her at the other, bathed in light. Except, what was waiting for me? At the other end was, admittedly, no paradise. Meanwhile, the teacher showed Catherine to her desk. She walked past me without so much as a glance. I was at a loss for words. Was I to jump up in the middle of the lesson and scream, "What are you doing here?" My classmates' initial astonishment had faded away in the meantime. Many did in fact know Catherine because she had been a student at this school before. The rest probably hadn't even expected to see a foreigner. After all, there weren't that many of them, even at our school. I doubted if they considered me a foreigner. That is, if they were aware of my existence at all. I met Katja in my first year of high school. Somehow we ended up dating. She and I, rather incredible. Her mother had been working in Japan for quite some time, same as my parents. Time passed and everything seemed to be going well. Then one day Katja told me that we could no longer be together. Something about her mother getting transferred. I might have accepted this story. I might have forgiven and forgotten. But it did not hurt her even in the slightest. Was I her fellow colleague whom she could simply wave goodbye to, as one did when transferring to another office? Why? We could have had an official farewell party. I would have stoked up on gifts. I'm sorry. Goodbye now. Cold hollow. Everyday words. And after all that, she was going to just show up in my class? Nice to meet you. I look forward to studying with you. Seriously? Was there not another school in all of goddamn Tokyo? I couldn't believe it. But at the same time, somewhat deep inside, an ember of hope remained. What if she came back because of me? And that's the reason that she's here right now. Right. Hope springs eternal. I was watching the seconds go by slowly on the clock. Talk to her. I had to talk to her. The bell at last. I worked up the courage and She floated right past me, heading for the door. I had been too slow, too indecisive. What difference did it make now?
Hey, Nick. Are you asleep or what?
Kyosuke's words seemed to come from somewhere afar, as if from another world. But what was I going to say to her? Hi, long time no see. How are things? Anyway, why hadn't she gone up to me first? Was she scared? Shy? Nonsense. That wasn't like Katya at all. Then she must have not wanted to talk. I knew her too well. Kyosuke was shaking me frantically and muttering something, but I was ignoring him.
Nico-kun.
A new voice.
Nico-kun.
Himitsu. I lifted my eyes and looked somewhere past her.
After Nico-kun, don't rape me.
I snapped back to reality. Yeah, what is it?
You've forgotten again, haven't you?
She was pouting comically.
I knew you would, so I decided to come fetch you.
What did she want with me? Fetch me? What for? Oh, yes. We made some kind of plans. But what did that matter now? Catherine had left, and she was moving further away with each passing second. Perhaps the distance between us now was far greater than all the miles of Pacific Ocean. But I had no idea what I was going to say to her. I had long been secretly hoping to get over her and move on. And now this? Regardless, I had to make a decision. If I were going to run after her, I had to get going. Okay, so run after Catherine? Or go with Himitsu. That bitch dumped us pretty hard last time, so we go with Himitsu. How much longer was I going to let this continue? A surgeon has to exercise the rotten flesh to prevent the disease from spreading to the rest of the body. Since we were classmates now, I was bound to find out eventually why she had come back. Of course I remember, I said confidently, stood up, took Himitsu by the hand and headed for the door.
Wait, what about...
I turned and gave Kyosuke a glare so furious that he shut up immediately. Anger, resentment, longing, all these emotions had intermingled within me. I was walking down the hallway, oblivious to the world around me. I only stopped when we reached the lockers. I looked around the schoolyard. What if she was still here?
Nico-kun.
Himitsu ventured timidly. What? I snapped back, turned around, and realized I was still holding her hand. Sorry. I let go of her hand.
Did something happen? Don't say it didn't. I can see something's wrong. Kyosuke-san looked agitated too.
San is a Japanese honorific, expresses respect used towards those older, higher in status, or esteemed by the speaker. Kyosuke? I sniggered. The only thing likely to agitate him is some unrealistically shaped anime girl. The look in Himitsu's large eyes did not change. I meant that he was telling me about another anime again. You know, the one about magical girls. They show it at 6. You must have seen it. Yeah, I don't know why I put it down, but I had to. I'm fucked up. Sorry, boys. Why was I lying to her? Why was I lying now? I had to know. I couldn't hide Catherine forever. Sooner or later, Himitsu was going to run into her at school. I wish that Catherine would show up at her house. They did know each other after all. Anyway, it's nothing. Let's go to your store. What did you say it was again? By the station? Himitsu wasn't going to interrogate me. It wasn't in her nature.
Guess what? So the teacher asked Ray-kun today, when did man first land on the moon? And you know what he said? 2079! Can you believe it? And then doing PE?
Himitsu carried on as though nothing had happened. Maybe nothing did. What she was concerned. Oh shit. The thing in the background just opened. That wasn't the same, bro. Because of the train. From the outside, the store looked rather humdrum. What the frick? Was it perhaps reasonable pricing that drew the girls? but the standards of a school. Himutsu's family was not extremely wealthy, but her father worked for the government, so they weren't poor either. We went inside. Himitsu was trying on one outfit after another. She looks kind of cute here. I look kind of gangster. I'm in that Adidas tracksuit, you know. I'm that Russian guy.
How do you like it?
It's fine.
How about this one? I think this color would be in fashion this winter.
It's fine.
What do you think of this dress?
A little discontent was starting to seep into her voice. I liked the last one more. If only I knew what she'd tried on before. I was in no mood for a fashion show. To me, Himitsu looked good in any outfit. Why did she even need all this stuff? Did she not have enough clothes? Really? Why? I had known Himitsu for a long time, but I couldn't recall her even being in ever being in a relationship. But she was no longer a child. She was now a beautiful young woman. It was high time for her to get a boyfriend. Hold it. Was I feeling jealous? No, of course not. Anyway, if she had found somebody, I would have been the first to hear about it. Okay, you know what? I might be going after Himitsu anyway. I should have been eating lunch with her because, you know, when you see her, she's actually pretty cute. She's nice and right now I kind of like her, but I don't know which girl's best girl yet. But I wouldn't count anyone out. Himitsu is pretty cute. Anyway, oh shit. I think the main thing is that you like it.
But I like a lot of them. I like this and this. This one, not so much.
Himitsu was shuffling the clothes. What had she done to deserve such treatment from me? Catherine is back, I said, trying to be casual.
What?
She seemed not to have grasped what I said. She showed up in class today, right before the last lesson. I guess we're going to be classmates now.
Really?
I guess she got startled as fuck, bro. Himitsu turned drastically gloomy and dropped the dress that she liked so much. I see you're not too happy.
I'm happy. I just thought that she had moved away permanently.
Shit. Oh shit, wrong button. Well, that's what I thought too.
And what is she planning to do now?
What do you mean?
I mean...
Himitsu was hurriedly putting the clothes back on the rack.
She's been gone so long. You're seniors already.
Seniors. Okay. You know, honestly, I haven't made an inquiry into her life plans. Hell, I hadn't even talked to her.
What about you? Are you glad, Nico-kun?
She pried gently. It's not so straightforward for me, but what's to be glad about? You know full well what happened to Sladja.
Yeah.
But that's all in the past now. We'll see what happens. I'm sure she has her reasons. At least I was no longer lying to Himitsu. Right, I didn't tell her everything that was in my head, but what would I have achieved? And then this was between Catherine and me. Are you not going to buy anything? She paused to think.
No, everything's very expensive here, and I'm almost out of my allowance money for the month.
But it's only the 7th, I exclaimed. Well, let me make you a present then. That white and yellow dress. It'll look good on you.
No, it didn't.
Himitsu countered unexpectedly.
I look fat in it.
You look fat? I laughed loudly, throwing very looks from the store clerks and other shoppers. She looks fat? No, she don't, bro. See? This is why I didn't want to come, I whispered. Himitsu just smiled and said nothing back. We hardly talked on the way home. I felt awkward. Now would have been a great time to hear the stories about Raccoon. Oh, the train's coming, bro. Oh shit, that's insane. I like that shit, bro. Now would have been a great time to hear the stories about Raccoon, Saya-chan, who couldn't hit a volleyball over the net. Don't feel bad about because of Katya.
I feel fine.
Come on. I can see it. Don't worry. It'll be alright. Enough time has passed.
The important thing is that you believe that yourself.
I do believe it. It's just that it's all a bit unexpected. But you know how she is. She comes uninvited, leaves without saying goodbye. Always self-centered. I smiled involuntarily. Himitsu noticed and grew even sadder. Thankfully, we had neared the house. Well, I'll be off. See you tomorrow.
See you.
I really think she likes us, bro. I really think she likes us, bros. I wanted to say something else, but instead I merely watched as she walked through the gate. I spent the rest of the day trying futilely not to think about Catherine. At this pace, I could really go crazy. Every 5 minutes, the phone rang. I didn't pick up because I knew it was Kyosuke. Who would else be calling me? When it came to that crazy otaku, I was lucky he wasn't pounding on my door. In the end, I simply unplugged the phone. I tried to keep myself distracted with TV and video games, but these got boring quickly. I even did some homework for a change, played the bass for a bit, and made a simple dinner. Needless to say, I would rather have eaten Himitsu's cooking. But she must have been busy. Not that Himitsu was under any obligation to make meals for me on a daily basis, I just got used to it. Now that I was thinking about it, I realized that habits had become an integral part of my life, to the point where they started to take center stage in it. Catherine's reappearance was threatening to throw everything off balance. It was as if I'd grown senile and flabby in the past year and a half, to the point where I craved stability above all. On the other hand, why did I need this upheaval in my life, if nothing good was going to come of it anyway? Suddenly, the doorbell rang. It was probably Himitsu, but at this hour. I slowly made my way towards the door, but halfway a thought struck me. Why would Himitsu need to use the bell? Then it had to be Kyosuke, although it was definitely late for him. The evening routine for my well-fed friends was anime and 2-bit. But whatever. However, there was nobody at the door at all. I looked around and walked outside in the street, but the street was empty. Stupid pranksters. Yet someone had definitely been here, since there was a note on the doorstep, which I discovered on my way back. The note said, Nikolai-san, be careful. You are in a grave danger. Certain very powerful people linked to your father are after you. This is not a prank or a hoax. Yeah, sure. I suppose next I should have expected to find a busty magical girl in my living room ready to perform my every command. Kyosuke! 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 I shouted. It's not funny. And why bring my dad into this? My parents, the incident. They fled the Soviet Union when I was 7. In Japan, they worked as regular engineers at the Kobayashi Corporation. After they passed, I had the option of going back to the USSR to live with my relatives, but I ended up staying, seeing that I lived in Japan for most of my life. My father's friends helped take care of the legal formalities while his bank account kept me from starving. Kyosuke. I called out less confidently this time. The only reply I got was from a neighbor who barked something about it being nighttime and my yelling. Well, maybe it wasn't Kyosuke, but then who? If the note was a prank, a joke, its author had failed to deliver the punchline. And what if there was a more straightforward explanation? What if it was for real? I twiddled the note in my fingers. It was an ordinary piece of notebook paper, carefully clipped. The words were Japanese, written in a steady hand, although the spelling left something to be desired. Why write by hand at all, I wondered. Wouldn't it have been simpler to type, or in a pinch to clip words from a newspaper and assemble the note that way, like in those cheesy crime show? At any rate, Kyosuke could be ruled out. I would have recognized his handwriting. You're in grave danger, linked to your father. What if it were those punks? Just because their parents were loaded, it didn't necessarily mean that those brats had Asian Japanese. Or perhaps at least some of the servants had decided to take revenge for the cafeteria incident. No, that was ridiculous. Who could ultimately want something with a simple Japanese student, and why now of all times? Right on the heels of Catherine's return too. To be honest, I couldn't remember how good Catherine's Japanese grades were. I couldn't remember her handwriting either. But I knew she had spent considerably less time in Japan than I. Catherine had been a decent, but not a straight A student. And after a year and a half without practice, at any rate, she was the prime suspect now. It didn't even occur to me to ask what for. The motive had stopped making sense to me long before this. Either way, I had to try to find some answers at school the next day. But now it was time for bed. I hadn't felt so worn out at the end of the day in a long time. Oh, this song. It's really, oh shit, man. It's my jam, bro. I'm just dancing all day, bro. You can't see me. So I keep telling you about how my dance is. Cause, oh shit, it's so groovy and good. Very 80s like, bro. But sleep didn't want to come. I kept tossing and turning, and I was getting mad at myself for it. Meanwhile, the clock ticked past midnight. I flinched and perked up my ears. Perhaps I'd imagine it. Not again. I hopped out of bed, eyes scanning the room for anything I could use for self-defense. The bass wouldn't do. I just hit them over the head with a bass, man. I walked up to the door on a stiff leg and asked in a shaky voice,
Who is it? Nico-kun.
I breathed a sigh of relief and opened the door. Do you know what time it is?
Sorry, but your phone was off.
Oh shit, she's in her normal clothes. She's looking kind of cute in her normal 80s clothes, bro. So, is that a reason to turn up here in the dead of night?
No, but I tried calling several times. I wanted to know if you were going to school tomorrow.
If you're so concerned about my attendance, you shouldn't wake me up in the middle of the night.
I'm sorry.
Suddenly, I felt terrible. Himotsu was just being herself while I was taking out my problems on her. She wasn't the one who had brought Catherine back or left the note. Not it's me. I should be apologizing. It's been an awful day. I mean, it's been a tough day, very full of events, and I was already trying to sleep, at any rate.
Okay, I'll be going then. Good night.
I shut the door behind her and returned to bed. If today was tough, what would tomorrow be like? Gay, probably, or some shit. The 8th of September, 1987. Okay, bro. 100 bells were chimming with 100 melodies in my head, announcing the morning. In that medley was the cheerful chirping of the birds, the construction on the neighboring street, the boisterous shouts of the street vendors, as well as the damn fan, which has not quit blowing for a second, and the grumpy muttering somewhere close. Shit, I think I broke my back, boys, by the piercing gaze of long-arched green eyes, the pouting lips, and the two red braids. Hold on. This had already happened before. I jumped out of bed, stared in bewilderment at Himitsu, and blurted, "What's the day today?" "Tuesday?" "Tuesday?" she replied, frightened. "What's wrong?" "Tuesday? Huh. Alright then. Let it be Tuesday." I scanned the room mirror. What? Scanned the room. I scanned the room meticulously. Okay, I'm not gonna pretend to know how to pronounce that. The open notebook. I had tried doing my homework in the night before was still in the same spot. This meant that everything was fine. It occurred to me that the new day hadn't arrived. What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Well, like when you wake up and today is still yesterday, as in some sci-fi novel.
You read too many of them.
Himitsu laughed. Damn, she's laughing hard, bro. Things seems to be running their ordinary course, except I now became aware of a peculiar smell. I sniffed the air. Is that?
Yes, it is. I prepared it ahead of time.
A big pot of borscht sat on the stove. Good lord, why?
Didn't you ask for it yesterday?
No, I didn't. I just mentioned it casually. It was a joke.
Well, you know what?
She said menacingly.
You're gonna have to eat this joke now.
Soup for breakfast? No, that was undoubtedly unorthodox. Himitsu outdid herself this time. Suppose yesterday I'd let drop something about 4 grass and a 1978 Chateau Margaux. Would they be awaiting me now too? In any case, the borscht tasted quite well. Granted, it wasn't exactly a traditional recipe. Well, Himitsu was sitting opposite to me, looking at me intently. Why aren't you eating?
I'm waiting to hear what you think.
Oh yeah, sorry, it's delicious.
Really?
She didn't believe me. Yes, really. Why shouldn't it be otherwise? Himitsu tried the borscht.
Okay, it is indeed good. Now, don't you dare to complain about my cooking again.
When did I ever complain? You just don't get my humor.
I don't get it.
Just some lighthearted banter, it seemed, but Himitsu did not look her usual self. Every so often, a shadow of sadness passed over her face. Did something happen?
No. What about you?
What about me? At that moment, the events of the previous day flashed before my eyes. The surprise of awakening and the borscht had temporarily made me forget about Catherine and the note. Everything's fine, just a bit unexpected. Don't worry, I'll be alright.
Good, if you say so.
She smiled.
Let's go, I will be late for school.
We exchanged only a few words along the way. Somehow we just couldn't find a suitable subject for conversation. I didn't want to tell Himitsu about the note just yet, and she probably hadn't had anything happen to her overnight that was worth sharing. Sure, I could have talked about some random stuff, but that wasn't my thing. Finally, we reached the school. No incidents today, I hope? I sniggered. Alright, I'll see you later.
Don't sleep in class.
Himitsu smiled and headed for the classroom. Okay, now I had to think of a way to snag Catherine's notebook without anyone noticing. I hope she'd written something in it, preferably in Japanese. I was walking down the hallway, lost in thought, when someone called my name.
Anokin-kun, hold it there.
The school principal. That was his name. Yes, Kiyama-sensei, what is it? Sensei means teacher or doctor in Japanese, often used as a honorific or title when addressing people of these professions, especially when pupils address their teachers, similar to adding doctor before someone's name. Dr. Doofenshmirtz would be Sensei Doofenshmirtz Sensei. Eh? You know now.
Follow me to my office, please.
But the class is about to start. I protested as though these kinds of conversations were something new to me.
It won't take long.
A very old man in his 70s, or perhaps even older, Kiyama-sensei was always cloyingly polite and cold. On top of that, he's dressed and carried himself in a strictly European manner. I'd always been astounded at those Japanese who exhibit such obsequious devotion to Western culture and way of life. I don't know that word, so fuck you guys. If you think I'd pronounced it wrong, I'd never seen it before. I could think of any number of sayings on this subject along the lines of "To thine own self be true." Although, here this had become something of a tradition in its own right. This was, after all, an elite school. What's the issue exactly?
Anokin-kun, please come.
Well, naturally, he wasn't going to reprimand me in the middle of the hallway in the presence of the whole school, was he? Okay, so there's a girl here I see with my big fat eyes. Went into the office, but someone was already there. Her, well, if it isn't Ojo-sama herself. Ojo-sama is young lady in Japanese manner, usually addressed to daughters of very wealthy and or noble families, can be used with irony or sarcasm. Standing next to the principal's desk was, in fact, Eli-sama.
Oh, The poor boy from yesterday.
She seemed equally surprised to see me here. Yesterday's cafeteria incident came back to me in vivid detail. The madame did give me a handkerchief in the end to wipe myself. And I tossed it into the dirty laundry at the house. Oops, I needed to return it.
Let me guess. Are you a frequent visitor here?
Fuck. I have no more water, boys. I'm so sad. She asked sarcastically. Well, I certainly didn't expect to find myself groveling at your grace's feet today. That'll be all, Kobayashi-sana. San is a Japanese. Oh, we already have read that. Okay. Kobayashi. That last name sounded familiar. Ellie politely took her leave and walked past me, angrily flushing her eyes. Kobayashi. You know what? Wasn't that the guy we punched? Didn't we fucking punch the principal's son? Don't tell me that's true. Ellie politely took her leave and walked past me, angrily flashing her eyes. Oh shit, wrong button.
So, Anokian-kun, do you know why you are here?
I've got a couple ideas. The principal sighed and gave me a sad look from behind his glasses.
Anoki-kun, I understand that the Japanese culture is alien to you. But here at the school, we have students of every nationality. We strive to provide all of them with the best opportunities. In return, we expect the appropriate respect and adherence to the school rules.
Here we go.
I think you ought to understand this, especially considering your situation.
What about my consideration?
Let's not make this
personal.
No, what I meant.
Hey. I need more water, bro. Embarrassed, he removed his glasses and began wiping them slowly with a special cloth. I wanted to say that we make no distinctions between us students.
I wanted to say that we need no distinctions between us students. The rules are the same for everyone.
I understand.
In that case, you must also understand you cannot skip classes for no reason.
He put his glasses back on and looked intently at me.
And speaking of your attendance record,
I understand.
But if you understand, why do you keep skipping? Do you know who your school sponsor is?
I shrugged.
Kobayashi Corporation. This name does mean something to you, does it? Not. The company's president's chairman is president himself is chairman of the school boards of trustees. This centuries-old tradition.
At that point, I tuned him out. Kobayashi Corporation and Kobayashi Ellie. Things were adding up. Interesting. I wondered, would she still be the school queen if she had been born into an ordinary family? A family like Iwamura's, for instance?
Anoki-kun, what's that smirk for? Did I say something funny?
I'm very sorry, Kiyama-sensei. This will not happen again. I bowed to the ground.
Alright, that's enough.
The old man apparently hadn't been expecting this degree of repentance from me. I have seen the error of my ways and I promise it will never happen again.
Well, that's the most important thing. The fact that you understand and to avoid the repetition. Alright, go now or you'll be late for your class.
Thank you very much. I'm going now. Good shit, bro. Good shit. I formally took my leave and marched out of his office. So why did you tell me that, didn't you tell me that Ellie-sama of yours is a Kobayashi? There were still a couple minutes left before the beginning of the lesson.
I did tell you.
No, you didn't. You said her grandfather was the chairman of the board of trustees, as if I'm supposed to know what the chairman is.
That's the problem. You never know anything. Anyway. Why do you ask?
I could call to the principal's office just now for skipping classes. What else? At that moment, the bell rang. Only now did I remember about Catherine. She sat behind me, so I couldn't watch her continuously. Was she writing anything down? How was I going to grab her notebook unnoticed anyway? Surprisingly, I was hardly at all anxious. Sleep had clarified my thinking such that I found the whole situation more intriguing than troubling. The closing bell finally rang. Catherine got up and left the classroom. This was my chance. I slowly approached her desk, trying to look as inconspicuous as possible. I glanced around. My classmates were all minding their own business. I leaned down, opened the notebook, flipped through the pages. No, the handwriting was completely different. But how? Why? Sure, I had some issues with Japanese characters, but this much was obvious. Catherine did not write yesterday's note. Kun. I stood at attention. Caught, exposed, disgraced.
Go to the teacher's go to the teacher's room with Ivamura-san and bring the printers for the next lesson.
That was close. I looked at Ivamura. She was standing and staring indifferently out of the window. Right now, I wanted only one thing: to get out of the classroom as quickly as possible. Hi, well, should we get going?
I can go alone.
She didn't even look in my direction. But we were told to go together.
I'll manage by myself.
Under different circumstances, I would have gladly agreed with her. Listen, I understand and all, but I've already been to the principal's office today. I'm not burning with desire to go back.
As you wish.
Ivamura shrugged and headed toward the door. The hallways were unexpectedly deserted. It was as if the students were hiding out in anticipation of something. Ooh, they are looking kind of cute together. It is kind of reminding me of Another. I don't know if you've ever seen that anime. Good anime. Worth a watch, nigga. What the fuck did it say? Ivamura walked in silence. After I had defended her a day earlier, this is how she was acting. The awkward silence desperately demanded the conversation to break it. So, do we have to, walk like this often? I couldn't think of anything better to say. She raised her eyes and looked at me in surprise. That was a first. So I did achieve the desired effect after all.
Well, I am the class president.
Oh, yeah, right, sorry. Silence again. It's just that we've never really talked. I don't even know your first name.
Why do you need to?
It's only natural here. I'm Nikolai. This visibly embarrassed Ivamura, who seemed to be hesitating with the answer. In Japanese culture, addressing someone by their first name is a sign of familiarity. This was especially true in our case. But I didn't hold fast to all these conventions.
Kagume.
She said quietly. What, really? A loud burst of laughter escaped my lips, spooking several passing girls who stared at a white berth around us.
What's so funny?
Kagume frowned. Nothing, it's just, well, it's a weird name. Kagume is a Japanese children's game and a song from it. This is the reason Nikolai is surprised about this classmate's strange name. Okay, that makes sense.
No weirder than yours.
Why? What's wrong with my name? It's a common name, Nikolai. Nicholas. If you prefer.
You're all the same.
She was starting to get worked up, it seemed. Who's we? The Gaijin?
No, the local Morans.
How rude. Kagume snorted and turned away. Listen, do you have a problem with me?
I think you have. It's you who has a problem.
Oh, really? And what is it? I'm curious.
Who's that new foreigner?
I opened my mouth in surprise. Why would she be asking about that? Why?
You've been staring at her non-stop for the last 2 days.
Have you been spying on me?
I'd have to be blind not to notice.
She responded unfazed. That's really none of your business.
Of course it's not.
Kagume smirked.
But neither is my life any of your business, so why are you prying?
She had a point. Say she is someone you've known before. Say you used to see each other. Say you don't know her. Okay, let's tell her the truth, bro. We were in a relationship at some point. Kagume's facial expression was hard to read and she remained silent. Why did you bring her up anyway?
It's not every day that we have a new student in our class, and such a striking foreigner as that.
I'm a foreigner too, you know. She looked me up and down, sniggered, and said,
Yeah, sure.
Damn, I knew it. Wrong features for a Japanese, but now I was being denied the title of a proper gaijin as well. That sucks, bro. Are you always like this? I was starting to lose my temper.
We've arrived. Wait here.
Hey. Just in time before I could open my mouth. Kagome went into the teacher's room, but before I knew it, she was back with a large pile of papers.
Carry it.
What? All of it? I couldn't see any way to carry the heap comfortably. What if each of us would carry a half?
Didn't you volunteer to come along?
No, I didn't. The teacher sent me if you recall.
Okay, give it to me.
Kagome attempted to take all of the papers from me at once. Oh no, that won't do either. Which of us looked more pathetic now? Spurred on by wounded pride, I walked fast, so the return trip took considerably less time. Oh shit, Bronin. I dropped a mountain of papers onto the teacher's table with a thud, while Kagome took her seat and returned to her customary window gazing. I guess no one deserves to be bullied, but man, I could almost understand those punks from yesterday. Judging by the clock, the bell was less than a minute away. Catherine's desk was empty. I turned to Michael, who sat next to her. Did Catherine, the new girl, did she go somewhere?
Don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. Why?
Never mind, no reason. Bummed, I sat down at my desk. Could she have somehow noticed that I opened her notebook? No, wait, Catherine wasn't even in the classroom at the time. Did someone tell her? How long ago did she leave?
I'm telling you, I don't know.
Are you talking about the new girl? I think she went to see the principal. A classmate had overheard our conversation. Thanks. The chair beneath me felt like it was on fire. That's how badly I wanted to run after her. But to what end? What was I going to tell her? As the sound in my feet seemed to acquire a will of their own. They carried me to the door, then past the teacher and out into the hallway. I turned the corner at a run and stopped. What the hell was I doing? Why all this? The school had gone silent, frozen still, as though in awe of the inescapable might of pure knowledge. I was slowly tiptoeing through the empty hallways towards the principal's office. If I were to run into one of the teachers now, I would have to explain myself all over again. On the other hand, it would be no better if I showed up at this office myself. Speaking of which, here it is. I pressed an ear to the door, but no sound was coming from the other side. Either they were playing the silent game or Catherine was not there. So what next? It was too late to go back to class. I wandered the empty hallways and didn't even notice how I ended up in the old wing. Our school has been repeatedly rebuilt since it first opened. Doors might after the war with new buildings added on as old ones fell into decay. Inefficient, if you ask me. Why not tear down the old structure first and build a new one in its place? Theoretically, there shouldn't have been anyone in this wing. But suddenly I heard music. A guitar. The sound was coming from what, judging by the plague, was the old music classroom. I opened the door a crack. Oh shit. Ha! No one other but Eli Kobayashi herself. That's the blonde hair, blue-eyed girl. Yes. Let's bang her. Nobody's gonna see her. Nobody's gonna see it here. Like, rape is an option. Okay. Of all people, she was the last one I expected to find her. She was doing an excellent job playing, though. The tune was beautiful, and the execution was equally good. Music, after all, was one area that I knew a thing or two about. Ellie herself seemed to be glowing with happiness, looking nothing like the prim princess whom I encountered in the principal's office that morning. Cool though this lyrical digression was, I certainly couldn't let a chance like this slip by. Well, and who do we have here? The guitar went abruptly mute. My applause was the only sound interrupting the silence that had descended on the place. Ojo-sama, I did not know that you played the guitar too. Many emotions flitted across her face: embarrassment, surprise, annoyance, resentment.
You.
I don't know.
You.
Please pay no attention to me. Carry on.
You. What are you doing here?
I followed a beautiful and stirring song, but I could have never imagined it would be you, Ojo-sama.
Enough.
Ellie blurted out, stood up abruptly, and froze, as if not knowing what to do next. Hey, come on, don't take offense. I just didn't realize you played the guitar. Somehow I don't associate you with this instrument. Now a violin, maybe.
I can play the violin too.
She cut in. Really? Well, that's cool.
And why aren't you in class?
It's no mystery why I'm skipping. What about yourself?
I'm not skipping. We're having a break.
Alright. I smirked. You don't have to justify yourself to me.
I'm not justifying myself. You, on the other hand, should watch your behavior. What were you doing at the principal's office this morning?
I came for a cup of tea. In any case, it's none of your business. I wasn't trying to be rude, but that's precisely how it is. How it came out.
Actually, it's my business, seeing as my grandfather.
I'm aware.
She
gave me a surprised look. What? Is it a secret?
No, of course not.
Even if you are. Suddenly we heard voices in the hallway.
Hey!
Ellie whispered anxiously. Why? It's a break for you, and I'm used to it, said sardonically, albeit in a lower voice. She didn't answer, but was looking at me pleadingly. She must have had her reasons. Let's hide with her. I think that's the good thing to do. I think that's the right thing to do. Very well. Except I don't see where we could hide here.
In here.
Ellie grabbed my hand and dragged me into a small door which I had missed intentionally. The door opened into a cramped utility closet. What, just like this? I hesitated. The closet was definitely not room enough for two people.
Get in already.
However, she clearly thought otherwise, because next thing I knew, she literally shoved me inside before stepping in herself. Wait, so we were in a closet, in a small closet with the most popular and powerful girl in school, rich, hot, and I wanted her to suck on my cock. This couldn't be any better, bro. Great. We were now packed in light sardines. Wait. And this place reeked. Yet perceptible above the stench of dampness, moldiness, and dust was the sweet aroma of Ellie's perfume. A killer combination, to say the least. The classroom door opened and several people entered. I think I heard something.
You have misheard, Kiyoma-sama.
Sensei, fuck. I switched the devices up. Fuck that shit, bro. The principal was talking to one of the teachers.
I'm not hearing things. I may be getting in the years, but I'm still more than capable.
Oh shit, I fucked it up again. I'm a noob. Heavens no,
Kiyama-sensei, I didn't mean anything of sort.
Anyhow, this ramshackle place should have been torn down long ago. A third voice joined the conversation.
That ransible place, as you call it.
The principal let out a sigh so loud I could hear it clearly even from the closet.
I remember here as a young teacher, right after the war, trading in my rifle for a pointer. You could say chalk taking the place of ammunition.
You would have guessed that our principal was so sentimental. I shift my gaze towards Ellie. She turned red like a boiled lobster, breathing becoming rapid and irregular. An awkward situation to be sure. Just because she played the guitar didn't necessarily mean she had lots of experience in the area of, well, you know. But who was I to judge? Yes, I'd gone out with Catherine, but gotten somewhat used to her, whereas here was a completely different girl standing next to me. And by next, I mean right up against me. My heart started beating faster, and I gulped loudly. Ellie gave me a frightened look. I made a face that was supposed to mean quiet. She seemed to have understood. Meanwhile, the principal continued his oration.
And after all of that, you talk of this is all cultural heritage? It should be made into a museum.
Certainly, Kiyama-sensei, but let's go now. We have a meeting coming up.
Yes, forgive me. I got a bit carried away.
The moment that the door closed behind them, Ellie came flying out of the closet. Oh, hey, congratulations, you're gay! I stepped out after her. I had to say something. It was a bit tight in there. She looked at me dumbfounded.
Tight? Tight, you pivot! You grabbed me all over!
I didn't touch you at all.
You got me the guy again! You don't think I could see it? Dylan?
Calm down already, will you? How can you grope someone with your eyes? And anyway, it was your idea to hide in there.
Yes, man!
Well, that's all there is to it. Ellie looked sad now and she lowered her gaze.
I suppose it's unbefitting for a young lady to behave like this, is it?
She smiled sadly. Well, I'm not the best person to give advice on the matter, but for what it's worth, I don't think there is anything wrong with playing the guitar. You must enjoy music a lot, huh?
Yes.
Oh, she's smiling. Look at that small smile on her face. No, that big smile. This time, her smile was more genuine. Then I don't see a problem. Just then a distant bell announced it was break time.
Alright, I gotta go too.
Her final parting smile was utterly disarming. I was left standing alone inside the empty music classroom of the abandoned old wing. What a strange girl. Okay. Weird. But definitely want to have my cock in her mouth. The whole musical interlude made me forget entirely the reason I had wound up here in the first place. I've been looking for Catherine. I had absolutely no desire to go back to class where I could expect another scolding. Simply skipping was bad enough, but to have run out of the classroom right in front of the teacher? No, thank you. I managed to slip out of the building unnoticed, and here I was, free as a wind, strolling down the sidewalk in one of Tokyo's central districts. I just wanted to chill out. This whole day had been a waste. The only thing I achieved was determining that Catherine had not written yesterday's note. The note, unpleasant thoughts, crept into my head. But if she didn't write it, who did? What if it wasn't a prank? Just what was going on? What happened to me in the past day and a half than over the preceding year and a half? That entire time, I hadn't really socialized with anyone except maybe Himitsu. Well, add to that Kyosuke and occasional Michael. Now, Catherine was back and there were Kagome and Ellie. What next? I was going to turn into a magical girl, as if by chance. I ended up by a near familiar bar. A couple of rounds of beer were an absolute must right now. I'd relax, clear my head. This is a fucking long demo. The inside wasn't crowded, which made sense for this time of the day. People were supposed to be either at work or at school. Like in that joke about the 3-story building and the hurricane. Even though I wasn't a stranger here, I always had a fake passport on the ready. Classmate whose father worked in law enforcement had hooked me up at one point. There were lots of students at our school who had these passes to the adult life. Oh yeah, you need to be 20 to drink in Japan, right? Good thing I'm 20 now, bro. I'm a 20-year-old. I'll go to Japan and drink all the booze, bitch. Alright. How would you prove it wasn't real? A document was a document, especially when some insolent snot was shoving it in your face. Not to mention that the bar's owner was Russian. Chuckling, he usually told people that he used to be a pirate who got shipwrecked off the coast of Japan. There was a tall tale. Of course, most likely he was just a regular immigrant like my parents. I sat down at the counter and ordered the beer.
Here, Kolya. What's up? You're all late today.
Yeah, it's just the way it worked out.
You aren't going to get into trouble at school, are you? You know how they're strict about these things here.
I giggled nervously.
Okay, I see. It's none of my business.
A good bartender is invariably a good psychologist. It is almost a qualification for the job. Beer at this place was served in pint-sized mugs, which made me very happy. Squealing with pleasure after drowning a tiny glass in one gulp was not my thing. Yuck. I took a copious draught. Catherine's back. The bartender raised his eyebrow and asked with unfeigned surprise,
"And what are you going to do now?"
At times I wondered if showing empathy to customers was something more than just a professional skill for him. What can I do? She hadn't been too eager to talk, and neither have I. At any rate, I'm certainly not going to throw myself at her.
"And why has she come back?"
She says because of her mother's work. I suppose that is the case. She wouldn't come back by herself, would she?
Most likely not.
So I'm in this weird spot now. You know how they say life is like a zebra, a black stripe followed by a white stripe, then a black one again, then a white one again.
Yep, and then there's us.
We both laughed.
"You know what? Kolya, don't get down,"
he said incurredly.
"You still have your whole life ahead of you. The two of you will make up 100 times over before the end. And if not, you'll find yourself another girl. Look how many of them are around.
Fuck. The bartender spreads out his arms, inviting apprehensive looks from the few schoolgirls nestled at a table in the furthest corner of the room. Thanks for the comforting words. There's so much else beside that anyway. Life is in full swing.
A neat swing hits you in the head.
Jeez, did he keep a glossary of sayings under the counter? The bar door flew open and a group of young people entered. Having immediately recognized among them the punks from the day before, I instinctively buried my face in the mug. Was I scared? So it seemed. They sat down at the table and ordered the beer and cocktails for the girls.
"You know them?"
The bartender asked quietly, leaning in toward me. I wouldn't say I know them, but we met. I gave them the occasional sidelong glance. I wondered if I should get up and leave. Wouldn't that look cowardly though? Then again, to whom? They hadn't even noticed me. No sooner did I think that than one of the guys got up and walked over to the counter.
"Hey, I know you."
If you say so. I was as calmly as possible without even sparing him a glance.
"I think you know who you are dealing with, Gaijin."
I think you don't know. I'm not dealing with anyone.
"So it was you who put my friend to the fence yesterday."
If it was me, he had deserved it.
"Really? How about we step outside for a little chat?"
I looked at the bartender, but he only shrugged. Some empathy, damn it. Alright, let's step out. What else could I do? Okay, so this is the guys we beat up earlier. It wasn't... we probably shouldn't have done that. Because now we're gonna get beat the shit out of us. Damn. Half a minute later, we were standing in an alley behind the bar. A couple of the guys joined the school kids. Where did they even come from?
"Not so tough, are you? Not so tough, are you now?"
said the ones I passed there yesterday. That'll teach him to stand up.
"They'll teach him to stand up for hoes."
I looked at the girl. Oh shit, it was a girl. Compared to her, Kagome was Mother Teresa. Well, what next? Gonna beat me? Are you? 4 against 1? That commands some respect. What happened to the code of honor? The Yakuza have one. I sneered at the largest guy among them. You there. You definitely got the mugshot for a fuck. The older ruffians clenched their teeth. Their expressions changed. What did you say? Let's get it over with already. A thought flashed through my mind, what if I strike first? That way, at least, I would retain a smidgen of self-respect. But I had no time to decide, as a strong blow to my back threw me to the ground. That was low. The blows hit hard. But they did go on for long. I curled up into a ball, covering my head with my arms. It hurt. So, yeah, as I knew, I was getting beat up by an faggot. By the time I recovered, my sentence those bastards had vanished without a trace. I got up slowly and felt myself all over. Nothing was broken, it seemed. My face was mostly intact as well, except for a black eye. Okay, that's fine. I returned to the bar and sat down in the same seat. I no longer felt like carrying on with a cordial conversation with the bartender. Although what could he have done? Stand at my side and fight? Call the police? Nonsense. Hey, there's... He pointed off to the side with his eyes. I turned my head, sitting just a few feet from me was Catherine. Well, hi, I guess, I said a little while later, after waiting for her to open the conversation. Fat chance of that happening. Hi. Catherine replied indifferently. I shifted to a closer seat while she ordered a cocktail for herself. What's with the face? Nothing serious. She wasn't buying it. She just wasn't buying it, boys. She just wasn't fucking buying it. I fell. Face first onto concrete several times in a row. Yup, it got lucky this time, but next time victory will be mine. Is that so? Said Catherine apathetically. So, are you also missing school? I had to start the conversation in the most neutral way possible. Also? She looked at me askance. Well, it's nothing new to me. I guess it isn't. I heard you went to the principal. Maybe I did. What of it? The tone of her voice didn't change, but her eyes flashed. Katja, I don't want to start everything up again. Then don't. I'm not. Or was I? Just put yourself in my shoes. How would you be reacting? Wouldn't you be asking the same questions? What question? What questions? Oh shit. Fine, I understand. You're here because of your mother's work. But this particular school, why? What, am I getting in your way? Catherine was sipping her cocktail with an expression of absolute indifference. No, of course not. It's just, when I think about how we parted back then, that's all in the past. You don't really believe that I should have chosen a different school or changed my life in any way just because of you, do you? Why would I do that? Simply to avoid running into you extra time? That's not what I was thinking. She was right. Actually, I had no comeback. But she was right only if she really didn't have any feelings for me right now. Everything pointed towards this being the case, but I just didn't want to believe that she could be so cruel. So everything's alright? Of course. Then we can remain friends. A barely perceptible smirk appeared on Catherine's face. Do you want us to? Why not? The past is past. We have to move on. Go on living. You sound like someone with PTSD. That's when I started getting worked up. It's all in the past for me as well, if that's what you mean. Is it good? Is it good? Great. I turned away, pretending to study the menu. Was I out to get up and leave? That would be it. I'd have to forget all about her for sure. Damn it. Was I really still hoping for something? Each time Catherine hurt me more and more, but like a mindless gnat, I kept slamming against the glass, as if I was trying to prove something to someone. In this year and a half, I had become so accustomed to living with these memories of her that now, when she was so close, I simply couldn't let go of her. These memories seems like my only hope The only thing holding me back from doing something foolish and fatal. Was I thinking of something specific? Unlikely. But I was hoping naturally. I see you are not wasting any time. Catherine gave me a surprised look. Nothing was worse than indifference. Better if she got mad at me. I snatched the cocktail out of her hands and said snidely, "Getting an early start, are we?" As I raised the glass to my mouth, I heard Catherine's indifferent voice somewhere in the background. "It's non-alcoholic." It really was. Sorry. I set the glass back down on the counter. You on the other hand has kept your habits, I see. What do you mean? Her eyes shot over to the empty beer mug, which I had tried to move as far away as possible. Gosh darn it, bartender. It's been a rough day. Yeah. How so? Are you really interested? Just keeping up the conversation, or would you instead prefer to be ignored? I sighed and answered. I was called in the principal's office. Yep, same reason as always. Missing school. Well, you know me. Then there was also a curious episode with a certain Ujo-sama. You know, girlfriend? Are you mugging me? No, just keeping up the conversation. I told you, if I'm disturbing you, I can leave. I don't have a girlfriend. Nor have I ever. I added in a half whisper. I see. And how's Himitsu doing? If you're so interested, you could visit her and ask. I don't believe you had fallen out with her. Perhaps I'll go see her. Catherine responded vaguely and glanced towards the entrance. Was she about to leave? Something stung on the inside. I wanted her to stay, even if she was going to mock me. Himitsu is fine. I don't even know what else to tell you. Same as always, basically. Same as always. Is she? She drawls. Are you surprised that someone can actually treat me normally? Of course not. I'm happy for Himitsu, and I'll definitely visit her if I get the chance. But now I need to go. She set the unfinished cocktail down on the counter and stood up. Alright, see you at school. Catherine nodded and exited the bar. Dang, bro, you took a beating. Don't even start. How about a drink on the house? Did he want to make it up to me? No thanks, I think I've had enough for today. Did he just say no for free beer? I left the bar and stretched. As expected, the bruises were aching. At least they didn't beat me to a bloody pulp. And I'm happy for that. If the past couple of days of my life resemble some dumb manga from Kyosuke's collection, my encounters with Catherine felt more like a soap opera. A vicious, sticky, dark brew with a beginning with no end. How long would this go on? In less than a year, I was going to graduate, and then what? My dad's savings weren't going to last long. I would need to get a job. Thoughts of higher education didn't even cross my mind. But what skills did I possess? Did I want to toil interminably, day after day, like the Japanese? Did you know there is even a particular word in Japanese that means death from overwork? Questions. It was getting late. I've been wandering aimlessly around the city for several hours, occasionally stepping inside stores or just window shopping. I was killing time, killing yet another day of my life. It was completely dark by the time I arrived at my house. The lights were on inside. I immediately remembered yesterday's note, and a light shiver traveled down my spine. Now that was ridiculous. As an assassin waiting for a victim inside a house with the lights turned on? Still logical or not, someone was obviously inside. I carefully opened the door and saw a pair of female shoes in the hallway. Himitsu? I should have guessed right away. Who else had any need of me? Hi, I said carelessly, entering the kitchen. Himitsu was sitting at the set table. She had apparently been waiting for some time.
Nico-kun, where have you been? I was so worried.
If a moment ago I might have been glad to see her, all that went out the window now. Not another interrogation.
Oh, what happened to you?
She jumped up from her chair when she noticed my black eye. Nothing serious. I ran into some robbers, made some short work of them, but one got me in the eye.
Stop talking nonsense.
It's no nonsense. You want to see the police report? She pouted but calmed down, having probably realized that I was fine.
I asked Kyosuke-kun, and he said you weren't present for the last few lessons.
So I wasn't. What of it? I snapped back.
Nothing, it's just so much has happened lately that I was worried.
Why would you worry about me? Did you think I was gonna go drown myself?
No, I didn't.
Nothing much has happened anyway. I was about to add, not to you anyway, but stopped myself at the last second. After all, Himitsu had done nothing wrong. Meanwhile, she was looking at me expectantly. I had to tell her something. I debated whether I should mention Catherine. It's not like a secret or anything, right? We didn't do anything objectionable. Still, maybe Himitsu didn't need to know about this. Okay, we need to say it. I was with Katya. Really now, why was I feeling all embarrassed about this? Like an 8th grader on his first date.
Really? Cool. And how's Katie-chan?
Himitsu replied, skipping a beat. As if reading from a script. I suppose she's fine, but you know how she is. Sometimes you have to drag every word out of her. Himitsu smiled.
Alright, sit down and eat. The dinner's cold, of course, but you only have yourself to blame.
I was, in fact, hungry as hell. We ate dinner in silence, without talking, without the TV, and without even looking at each other. I could almost feel the charge in the air from the tension. It was one thing for me to stay silent, but why was Himitsu keeping quiet? Just because I told her about Catherine? After so many years, Himitsu has come to know me very well. So she knew that there were times when it was better to remain silent and times when it was better to do the opposite. So what was she hoping to achieve now? She knew I wasn't a fan of small talk, but the silence was becoming unbearable. How was school?
Fine.
That's it? Just fine? Nothing happened to Saya-chan?
No. Why do you ask?
I set down the chopsticks and leaned back in my chair. Probably because you've been quiet the entire dinner.
I'm not quiet. I'm not on purpose.
Himitsu got flustered. If this is because of Catherine...
No, of course not.
Then what is it? She was obviously working up the courage to continue. These sorts of conversations had always been difficult for her.
Because I was worried. Did you even check the time? You could have called at least.
Called? Called where?
Here.
She replied in a faltering voice. How was I supposed to know you'd be here? We aren't yet living together, last I checked.
Maybe that's unfortunate.
She mumbled softly. I pretend not to hear it. The conversation clearly took a wrong turn. Alright, you know what? I'm exhausted today. You head home. I'll do the dishes.
But...
I'll see you tomorrow. Himitsu lowered her head and stood up.
Good night.
When the door closed behind her, I let out a sigh of relief. Right now, I absolutely needed some time alone. I felt as though trapped between two fires. Or even 3 or 4. A veritable ring of fire that was slowly but surely closing in on me. And how was I acting? Sluggishly and indifferently. Like a decrepit old man who had long since stopped caring about his life. On the one hand, there was Catherine, who I simply couldn't put out of my head. On the other hand, there was Himitsu, who clearly wasn't happy to see Catherine's back. Then there was also the note, the new acquaintances, my non-existent plans for the future, and the future itself, shrouded in a fake haze of uncertainty. I spread out in bed and recalled Lily. Even if the closet episode felt like it had been ripped straight out of some tacky manga, it has still been a pleasant one. What if Ellie could help with the note somehow?
No doubt she had good connections. As for Himetsu and Catherine, come what may. Perhaps things would resolve themselves. Thinking these thoughts, I fell asleep. Okay, boys. So, let's see. It's continuing. Good. And I have been sitting here and waiting for a long time because it was a demo, so I thought it would actually be very short. But now I feel like we have played for quite some time. So I am under this great thought that I want to say thanks for watching this episode. It has been great making it for you. Remember to like, subscribe, watch my other videos on the channel. Leave a comment telling me how much of a shithead I am for making this long of a bad episode. And I hope you'll see you all in the next episode.